Hello, and welcome to my channel, Introspective Lifeworks, where I share and teach everything I'm learning about in this lifetime. I'd like to welcome all you beautiful, amazing souls, and today's topic is going to be about the angel realm and RH negatives. The reason I want to talk about the angels and the RH negatives is I feel like a lot of them may experience some of the things I've experienced. So regardless though, if you're RH negative or RH positive, I know everyone has experiences with angels. So I would be very interested in hearing your comments, so you can email me at introspectivelifeworks@gmail.com to discuss your path crossing the path of an angel, or how you know angels are working with you, or any connection or anything that you have experienced as you go through this life with an angel. So with that said, let's move on. I have seen some YouTubers that are RH negative talk about how they've been saved by angels, and today I'm going to tell you a couple of stories of how I was saved by angels, and also talk to you a little bit about other things that happened in my life with angels. But the first thing I would really like to talk about in this video, it really doesn't have anything to do with angels, but it does have to do with energy and possibly lucid dreaming. So I would like to tell you what happened to me last week around Christmas time. Today is January 2nd, 2021. And last week I was sleeping, and in the early morning hours I started having a dream, but I felt like I was actually awake, but it was very real. And I felt like I actually traveled back in time to when I was a little girl, and about 2 years old, 2.5, maybe 3, and I could feel like my spirit now going into the body of me as that little girl, and everything that was happening, I could feel it, happening. Like I was there living it, but I was here in my bed dreaming about it. Very, very strange. I've never had that happen before. And I was the firstborn to my parents, and they were dairy farmers. So I was in the farmhouse with my mom, and I could feel everything. I could just not hear or smell or taste anything, but I could feel everything and I could see everything. So it was those senses that were picking up on this. So my dad walks in. Well, I guess I could hear because I heard my dad at the door, and I knew he was coming into the door. And he walked in and he reached down and picked me up, and I could feel his hands going around me and picking me up. And I could feel that warm love, and he hugged me and kissed me, and I could feel like this unconditional love for me, and it just like wrapped around me, and it made me feel really, really good. And I always considered my dad as my earth angel. So I'm feeling this, and then I wake up and I think, wow, what just happened to me? That was so real. Is this what they call lucid dreaming? But I time traveled back to a period of time when I was a little tiny child, and I could feel what it felt like in that body. And I could feel my dad's soul, his love and his warmth. And then I thought, well, maybe this is his Christmas gift to me, because you see, I had just turned 5, and it was about a little over a month after I turned 5, that my dad was tragically killed in a car accident. And it has bothered me my whole life. I'm better now than I used to be. With age, you do heal, but it's still, I question, why did such a wonderful man have to leave the earth when I was just getting my life started. So then I would be interested in anybody commenting if they've ever had an experience like that, where they went back in time and they felt like they were really there and they were really feeling everything, all the energy and everything. And just share with me, email me, I'm interested. So moving on, I was this young girl who lost my father, and then everything was kind of a blur after that. I really don't remember much about my life. My mom had a baby. I had a little sister about 8 months after my dad was killed, and that's all a blur. I can kind of remember her bringing her home, but it's just not that vivid memory like I had before my dad died, of the things that happened with me and him on the farm. So, moving forward, okay. My mom got married when my sister was a little over 2 years old, and the youngest one. And my stepdad, he was young, and he took on this big responsibility of a woman and 3 kids, and he was in the army, and we traveled. We lived in West Germany at that time, and it probably wasn't that easy for him, but he also, he had this problem. He was very, at times, physically violent, very verbally abusive, one of those type of personalities. So I grew up in fear and never knowing what was going to happen from one minute to the next. I was like a C student, because I later learned, when I was getting my bachelor's degree in psychology and sociology, that kids often in these types of environments, they have a hard time being focused at school, because they're always concerned about their livelihood at home and surviving it. So yeah, when I got to college, when I was 40, I went back to college, and I graduated with honors with the bachelor's of psychology and bachelor's of sociology, and then I got my master's in marriage and family therapy, and I graduated with honors there too, and now I'm just waiting to get into my clinical internship, and COVID kind of put a damper on that. But so here I was, this young kid, scared most of the time, living in fear. And the angels, well, I would know when they were around me. When I would feel really alone and really scared, I would hear their wings, and I would feel that warm love, and I knew they were there, and they were helping me be strong and get through it. They were there. Well, then when I was 15, I didn't really hear them so much. I was more like when I was younger. And when I was 15, there was this guy who was 19 that my parents knew his family. He was from another town, and he met me at this celebration we used to have about an hour away from where we lived. And he told my parents he would take me home and have me home on time. So they said okay, and then on the way to my house, he raped me, and I fought him, but I was too small and not strong enough. And yeah, then he took me home, and it was really hard. I didn't tell nobody for fear, if I told my parents, they would say, "What's your own fault? You led him on. You did this. It's your fault." So I didn't really say nothing to anybody. And then he started stalking me, and I was scared. So, because I really didn't want nothing more to do with him. And I had just turned 16, and I was uptown with my friends in the little town we lived in, and he was threatening us, and he really scared me that night. And then I came home like 15 minutes later, and then I got in a lot of trouble with my stepdad. So I just kind of figured, like, this is not a life worth living. I want to be with my dad. So in the morning, I had decided I was going to do it. And I took 150 aspirins, and I cut my wrist. And then as I was starting to pass out, everything was starting to get black. I heard this voice in my left ear, and it said, "Get help. It's not your time. Scream with all your energy for your sister. Scream for your sister." So I screamed for my sister. She came in, she seen what happened, and she went and got my parents. My stepdad dragged me to the bathroom, took a spoon and stuck it down my throat and made me throw up all the pills. And then he was slapping me because I was in and out. And I can just remember the blurry vision, seeing all those pills in the bottom of the bathtub with my stomach acid. And then they made me drink something. I don't know if it was baking soda or salt, and I threw up more. And I was really sick for like a week. I couldn't go to school, and I cut my wrist the wrong way, so there was no chance of me bleeding to death. But to this day, when I look at that scar on my wrist, I think about how that angel, my guardian angel, saved my life. And a while back, me and my sister were talking, and I brought this up, and I said, "Do you remember doing that for me?" And she's like, "Yeah, I do." She goes, "I figured you might hate me because your life hasn't been easy, but a healer's life is never easy. Anybody that goes into humanitarian work or is driven to heal others and help others constantly in their life, they will go through things, because those things make you stronger, and those things give you empathy and compassion and an ability to connect with others that are going through similar types of things." So that's just that. Well, now that was my first intervention of an angel to save my life. Okay, so then I had another saved by an angel. So fast forward to, my daughter was 14, my middle daughter. My oldest daughter was 21, and my son was like 10 months old. And we had been visiting my 21-year-old daughter and her two kids, and my 14-year-old teenager, she wanted to stay, and it was snowing, and I'm like, "No, the roads are icy, it's snowing, we lived in another town, we got to get home. There's no way I'm going to try to come back tomorrow to get you so you can go to school the next day, so you're coming home with me now." So we went out, got in the car. I made sure my son was buckled in his car seat, tighter than usual, because I knew the roads were icy. And then my daughter, she was buckled in, and I was buckled in, and we took off. And then she started arguing with me, and I hate to be distracted when I'm driving, especially when the weather is really, really bad. So I was asking her to please be quiet, and the roads are icy, and all of a sudden we started spinning. I think we did 2 cookies, and then we were headed for the cement canal bridge. There's this deep, deep canal that never freezes. The water's deep and it runs fast. And I was just like, I said, oh, God, please save us. Don't let me go in the canal. I just screamed that in the car. And as we hit the cement bridge, there was snow before the bridge. So we hit that, and I thought that the car filled up with white, and I actually thought the windshield got knocked out and the car was filling up with snow. And then we stopped, and my daughter, I looked at her and I said, are you okay? And she said, yeah, I hit my head, and she had cracked the windshield with her head, even though she had her seatbelt on. And then I said, well, did you see that white light? And she said, yeah, I thought it was snow. I thought the window broke when I hit it with my head, and I thought the car filled up with snow. And I said, I thought the same thing. Very weird. And I said, well, I got to get off this road before somebody hits us. So I backed up into a side road that was right next to the canal, and just to get my bearings. And a man actually had seen the accident. He stopped and he asked me if I was okay. And I said, yeah, I was going to go back to my daughter's house and report it to the sheriff's office. And then my daughter turns around and she looks and she says, Mom, Jordan's not in the car seat. And I'm like, what? And I looked back there and Jordan was not in his car seat. So then I looked on the floor, and behind my seat, he was sitting there and he was giggling like he was playing with something that we couldn't see. So I was like, this is interesting. And how did he get out of the car seat? And the buckles are still all buckled up. What happened? You know, was he flying out of the top of it and something caught him, and now that something is down there playing with him, keeping him calm? So I got out of my car and I hooked him back into his car seat, and then I got back into the car and went in to my daughter's house and filed the accident report. But you know, I know, and my daughter knows, that was an angel. That was an intervention of an angel, and it was an answer to my prayer, and it saved us. And I had really very little damage on the corner of my car. It didn't break the lights or anything. It was just mainly the spoiler. I had a Ford Focus. So yeah, that was the second time in my life that the angel saved me. And you know, I hear a man's voice, but I don't think that it's my angel. I think that first time it was a different type of voice, and I think it was possibly my guardian angel. But when I hear this other voice, I think probably it's my spirit guide, because he's always like giving me advice. Like he told me in 2014, 2 days in a row, and I always hear this voice when I wake up. He told me, don't go to Denver, and I was supposed to go to Denver to get my graduate school. I had gone through the interview and got accepted into the University of the Rockies for graduate school to become a doctor of psychology. And this voice 2 mornings in a row said, don't go to Denver. And I questioned it. You know, I said, okay, if this is a message from the divine, then God, tell me, why don't you want me to go to Denver? And then I automatically felt like, you know, you're going to have a back problem. And then about a week later, I couldn't get out of bed, and I blew my lower disc in my back. So I had to have back surgery. So I thought, well, maybe it just meant that it was a warning that I had this back surgery and needed to get my back fixed. But after my back's fixed, I'm going to Denver. Well, I went to Denver. Didn't work out. I couldn't find a job there to support me and my son. So I had a job, but it was like the person had not been honest with me and told me I was going to be the manager of his office, and it ended up more to be like a sales job, and I had to sell credit card processing, which I had no clue about. And in 2 weeks, didn't make a penny. So and my company that I'd been working with, now I've been working with them for 19 years. They were calling me, begging me to come back. So I went back, and they said I wouldn't lose anything. And yeah, they wanted me back. So I went back. And it's probably a good thing. You know, my spirit guide was trying to just save me a lot of time and money, because a couple years later I ended up with cancer. And if I would have been out in Denver all by myself, I probably wouldn't even noticed, and I probably wouldn't be here today. So they will intervene and guide us to get us on our path. That's for sure. Well, now, you know, if you watch any of my videos, you'll see a lot of energy on the videos I show. And I know some of it is angelic energy. And, you know, I made that one video review of the angel video. And I did still pictures of that angel. And it could either be an angel or it could be like a fairy, like a miniature form of Maleficent. I don't know. I feel like it's angelic, you know, the energy. I know I work with the angels every day for protection and healing, mainly Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. But I also have discovered in my research of fairies that some people believe that Silkies are the angelic, or from the angelic realm, and they are the earth fairies here to protect the earth, but also to like energetically work with people in a spiritual sense. So maybe it's a Silky, I don't know. But I do know that angels are around us every day. We're never alone. Their job is to keep us safe, to keep us on our path. They work with our guides. I believe they're separate. Some people believe they're one and the same, but I believe we have angels. And I believe I came into this world with 2 angels, guardian angels, and 1 spirit guide. And I have many spirit guides, and they rotate for whatever the need is. There's one that mainly stays with me. And then that after my father's death, my angel number went up to 5 angels around me. And I think over the years, after some of the things I've gone through, I've accumulated quite a little protection pack around me. And so this is like my video about angels. I hope that you find it interesting. I would love to hear your stories, to, you know, have you comment or send me an email. I believe that sharing is learning, and I hope you have a good 2021 and stay in love and light and peace. Bye.